What reforms are needed in school finances, and what do you think you get passed in the next legislative session?
Well, school finance, so the courts ruled a few months ago, and so that's something that's, I'm on the public education committee. My wife is a public school teacher for Northside, and so education is very important in our home. So what I think what needs to happen, we need to take a look at where we're at. There were cuts back in 2011, so that was 3 sessions ago, believe it or not, every 2 years. And so that's something that needs to be looked at. School districts still need the resources, they still need the funding, but also at the same time, I don't believe throwing more money at it, is the whole answer, but I think we need to catch up to 2011. These teachers and students, they need to have the resources that they need to be successful, because one day these kids are going to be part of the workforce. And we talk to a lot of folks, who, like Port San Antonio, I have part of that in my district. These people are looking for, these employers, they're looking for educated and intelligent folks. And so we need that also as well. And also what doesn't help is the STAR test. The STAR test is something that's puts a lot of pressure. They start at 3rd grade, they're like 8, 9 years old. I don't think an 8, 9-year-old should suffer that much anxiety over a test. And I don't think anyone in high school should be punished, just because they do so well, their body of work, they do so well through the year, but then when they get, they might be a bad test taker, or they might have something going on at home, they don't do well, they shouldn't be punished. So testing is fine, I like testing, but I don't think that should be weighted as much as it has been. And so, and I'm all for suspending the STAR test until they can figure it out. And teachers, like my wife's a public school teacher, teachers need to teach the curriculum, not just teach a test.
Yeah, I think that's a lot of the problems. Last year I had a 3rd grader, and she was so stressed out the 2 weeks before the STAR test she couldn't even sleep. And then, a couple months later it came out there were so many glitches with the system they took it on that they weren't even going to count the STAR test. So it's like she's stressed me out for nothing.
Right.
And it seems like there's the school systems are so heavy at the top with administrators that the teachers aren't getting the resources and being able to share that with the students that they need. I actually took my daughter out of public school. She was in a failing school that was exemplary in 2004, but now it's basically a failing school, and because of reform here, I was able to get her into a charter school where she's going to have a much better education. So I think we need to be able to make that more available and accessible to everyone, so they can get their kids out of failing schools and put them in a better school selection.
Sure.
So I'm real happy that you're working on that issue.
And going back to school finance, thank you. And we don't know what the budget's going to look like. We know it's going to be tight because of the price of oil. So that's going to have a lot to do with it. And I really don't know if school finance is something we can do during the session, if it'll have to be a special session. So it all depends on what it looks like. And, because every session, I've learned this, has a different personality on something, whether it be open carry or whether it be infrastructure. Like this time it was Prop 7, the stopping the diversions of transportation so we can get our roads built. We need to catch up. We're very behind. Everybody knows that in the state of Texas. And so this year I have a feeling it's going to be school finance, and that's something that needs to be addressed. And we need all our teachers and students to have the resources they need.